Welcome, dear listeners. Tonight, as the moonlight gently bathes the world in its soft glow, we embark on a tale that whispers wisdom to both young and old. Close your eyes, snuggle under your cozy blankets, and let the tale weave a comforting embrace around your imagination. In a kingdom long ago, where dreams and reality danced in a delicate balance, there lived Emperor Gustav, a man captivated by his reflection, ensnared in the shimmering allure of his own attire. His story, a fable of vanity and revelation, unfolds like a fragrant blossom unfurling its petals under the midnight sky. The tale begins with a royal procession, a parade of grandeur that veiled a secret waiting to be unraveled, echoing through the ages as a timeless lesson in humility and discernment. So, let us journey together into this enchanting narrative where deception meets truth and where the heart of the matter lies within. In a kingdom known as Viridia, situated in a bygone era of splendor and grandeur, the opulent and self-absorbed Emperor Gustav held dominion. He was a man consumed by his own vanity, fixated on every nuance of his appearance and attire. His obsession with clothing knew no bounds. Gustav reveled in adorning himself with the most extravagant and opulent suits available, each more lavish than the last. His imperial wardrobe was a treasure trove of ostentatious fashion, a kaleidoscope of colors and textures, carefully curated to showcase his wealth and status. Velvet robes of deep purples, robes lined with intricate gold embroidery, cloaks adorned with rare gems, and ornate headpieces were just a fraction of his extensive collection. Gustav saw himself not just as a ruler, but also as a fashion icon, whose very presence was a display of his kingdom's prosperity. Every morning, with great anticipation, he would meticulously select the attire that would adorn his regal frame for the day, considering the occasion, the weather, and his mood. He would then parade through his kingdom, a spectacle of grandiosity, displaying his opulent robes to his subjects. He reveled in the awe and admiration that his attire garnered from the onlookers. To Gustav, clothing was not just a necessity or a form of self-expression. It was a tool to assert his authority and distinguish himself as the emperor. Each passing hour brought forth a new ensemble, carefully tailored and designed to reflect his changing moods and desires. Gustav's obsession with his appearance grew, and he became infatuated with the idea of being constantly adorned in something novel and splendid. His courtiers and advisors, though hesitant to challenge the emperor's vanity, whispered among themselves about the excess and superficiality that had enveloped their once wise and just ruler. The kingdom's needs and concerns took a back seat as Gustav's obsession with his appearance continued to overshadow his responsibilities as a leader. In the corridors of the imperial palace, the clinking of jewels, the rustle of silk, and the whispers of sycophantic courtiers blended with the emperor's laughter, a cacophony that echoed the realm's shift from prosperity to shallowness. Emperor Gustav was ensnared in the allure of vanity, ignorant of the discontent simmering beneath the lavish facade of his rule. The kingdom waited, hopeful for a change, yearning for a leader who would prioritize their well-being over his own vain desires. While Emperor Gustav remained ensconced in his opulent palace, disconnected from the growing discontent of his subjects, fate weaved a twist into the fabric of his self-absorbed existence. Within the realm of Viridia, two cunning and duplicitous individuals set foot, their true intentions cloaked beneath the guise of skilled weavers. With deceptive charisma and a silver-tongued artifice, these interlopers introduced themselves to the city as master craftsmen, professing to possess a rare talent for manufacturing cloth of unparalleled splendor and enchantment. They spun a fantastical tale, claiming that this fabric held a magical property. It could only be perceived by the discerning and those befitting their stations. The news of these extraordinary weavers and their magical cloth spread like wildfire through the kingdom, sparking a flicker of hope among the disenchanted populace. The people yearned for something wondrous to distract them from the emperor's vanity and indifference. The weaver's promise of creating garments that would unveil the true character of individuals was like a tantalizing beacon of possibility. Emperor Gustav, ensnared by the allure of this novel and mystical fabric, soon caught wind of the weaver's arrival and their audacious claims. Intrigued by the potential to expose the unworthy and identify the truly clever within his empire, he summoned the cunning duo to his imperial court, unknowingly setting in motion a grand deception. Eager to grasp at the opportunity to enhance his self-indulgence, Emperor Gustav entertained the weavers within the gilded halls of his palace. He proclaimed his desire to be adorned in this extraordinary suit, believing it would grant him the power to discern the merits of his subjects, thus solidifying his perception of supremacy and intellect. In a bid to attain this fabricated treasure, the crooks cunningly requested a lavish assortment of gold, the finest silks, and the most precious gold cloth from the emperor. Gustav, blinded by his own desire to possess this miraculous creation, eagerly fulfilled their requests, instructing them to commence the weaving of the dress without delay. Little did the emperor know, he had just welcomed into his court two clever deceivers whose intent was to exploit his vanity and expose the gaping chasm between his perceived grandeur and the reality of his rule. kingdom stood on the precipice of a grand charade, soon to unravel in a spectacle that would shake the very foundations of Viridia's society. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the imperial court buzzed with anticipation. The grand hall of Emperor Gustav's palace was adorned with opulent drapery and shimmering candles, casting an ethereal glow upon the marble floors. The air was heavy with the fragrance of exotic perfumes and anticipation, for the weavers were about to make their grand entrance into the world of the emperor. Amidst the golden columns and the tapestries woven with tales of conquest, Emperor Gustav, adorned in one of his magnificent robes, sat on his ornate throne. He yearned for the arrival of the weavers and the realization of his ambitions. His desire to distinguish the clever from the foolish was an ever-growing obsession, one that drove him to seek this ostentatious, magical fabric. As the weavers were ushered into the imperial court, their presence commanded attention. Dressed in humble garb, their cunning eyes darted about, taking in the splendor that surrounded them. They paid obeisance to the emperor, and with practiced eloquence recounted the extraordinary properties of the magical cloth they claimed to weave. "If I were to be dressed in this special suit," Emperor Gustav declared, leaning forward on his throne, "I will know which men in my empire are unfit for their places, and I would be able to know the clever and the stupid. I must have this cloth woven for me without delay." His voice was tinged with excitement, for this fabric promised a means to his desired end, unveiling the truth about his subjects and showcasing his own discernment. Gustav's ambition and ego fueled the fire within him, compelling him to offer the weavers a lavish assortment of gold, fine silk, and precious gold cloth to hasten the creation of this exceptional garment. The weavers, feigning modesty and gratitude, graciously accepted the emperor's offerings. They assured him that they would commence the weaving immediately, employing their secret technique to craft the finest cloth the world had ever seen. The emperor, deluded by his own yearning for distinction, eagerly watched as his gold and silk were handed over to the deceivers, not realizing the intricate threads of deception being woven into his fate. As the sun dipped lower, the palace buzzed with activity. The weavers pretended to prepare their looms, setting the stage for an elaborate charade that would soon unfold, ensnaring the emperor in the web of their lies. The city awaited the grand parade, where the invisible threads of deceit would be unveiled, revealing a truth that would forever change the course of Emperor Gustav's reign. The days turned into nights, and the weavers maintained their illusion, feigning industriousness and dedication to their craft. They procured procured the finest candles and burned them late into the night, ensuring that the city witnessed the flickering lights from the palace, further solidifying the perception of their hard work. The flickering candles cast dancing shadows upon the palace walls, seemingly mirroring the intricate weaving of the emperor's enchanted suit. The people of Viridia, eager to witness the grand spectacle, gossiped excitedly about the weaver's supposed progress. Their whispers of admiration for the weaver's skill and the magical cloth they were creating spread like wildfire through the streets, adding fuel to the fire of anticipation that had ignited across the city. Amidst the excited chatter and the hopeful expectations, Emperor Gustav grew restless. He longed to see his new suit, to don this remarkable attire that would separate the clever from the foolish within his realm. The weavers, keenly aware of his impatience, continued their ruse, assuring him that the fabric was being intricately woven and that he would soon be able to witness its splendor. Doubt, however, began to creep into the emperor's mind. He knew he couldn't afford any delays in the creation of this magical garment, for the grand parade was fast approaching, and the anticipation in the air was palpable. Fearing the exposure of his own impatience, he decided to send his trusted old minister, a man of wisdom and loyalty, to secretly inspect the weaver's progress. The minister, while outwardly appearing obedient, was burdened by the weight of his knowledge. He had heard the whispers among the palace staff and had caught glimpses of the weaver's antics. As he approached the room where the weavers supposedly worked, he couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding, a growing awareness that all might not be as it seemed. Upon entering the room, the minister's suspicions were confirmed. The looms stood empty, devoid of any fabric. The weavers pointed excitedly at the vacant looms, describing the intricate patterns and mesmerizing colors of the unseen garment. But to the minister's dismay, there was nothing to see. An icy realization settled in. The weavers were charlatans, and the emperor had been deceived. He returned to Emperor Gustav, grappling with the decision of whether to reveal the truth or protect the emperor's fragile ego. The grand parade approached, and the fate of the kingdom hung in the balance, poised to unravel in the face of deception. The old minister stood before Emperor Gustav, wrestling with a moral dilemma. He knew he had witnessed a grand deception, yet he feared the consequences of revealing the truth. The weight of his loyalty and the years of service to the emperor bore heavily upon him, causing him to hesitate in exposing the weaver's fraud. As the emperor eagerly inquired about the progress of the garment, the minister chose a path veiled in falsehoods. Suppressing his unease, he spoke with practiced eloquence, masking the truth with carefully chosen words. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice quivering with both guilt and apprehension. "I have beheld the extraordinary fabric with my own eyes. It is a sight to behold, vibrant and exquisite in every way. The colors and patterns are beyond description." Emperor Gustav, seeking affirmation and validation, clung to the minister's words like a lifeline. The fabricated praise bolstered his belief in the weaver's purported skill and the magical nature of the fabric. Fueled by the minister's false admiration, the emperor's ego swelled, and he made a hasty decision to appoint the crooks as the new imperial court weavers, believing their deception was a sign of their extraordinary talents. The minister, burdened by the weight of his lie, knew that he had sealed their deception and perpetuated a farce. However, he justified his actions by convincing himself that protecting the emperor's fragile ego was for the greater good of the kingdom. He believed that exposing the truth might shatter the emperor's confidence and plunge the realm into chaos. Unbeknownst to the minister, his decision had set in motion a chain of events that would further embolden the weavers in their deceit. Emperor Gustav, now fully convinced of the weaver's abilities, eagerly awaited the day he would be adorned in the magical suit and showcase his newfound discernment to the entire kingdom during the annual grand parade. The minister, tormented by his choice and the impending consequences, could only hope that this elaborate ruse would eventually be revealed, and the kingdom would emerge from the grip of deception. Yet, in that moment, he felt a pang of remorse, knowing that he had chosen to perpetuate a lie for the sake of a vain and misguided ruler. The grand parade approached, and the fate of Viridia hung in the balance, precariously poised between truth and the illusions woven by the deceitful weavers. The city of Viridia bustled with anticipation as the day of the annual grand parade arrived. Crowds gathered along the parade route, adorned in their finest garments, eager to catch a glimpse of their emperor's supposed new magical suit. The weavers, now hailed as the imperial court weavers, presented an invisible suit to Emperor Gustav in the opulent chambers of the palace. Emperor Gustav, anxious and desperate to conceal his incapacity, hesitated for a moment. He knew the truth, that there was no magical suit, no splendid fabric spun with unseen threads of enchantment. Yet, consumed by his pride and fear of appearing unfit for his position, he chose to proceed with the charade. He pretended to wear the non-existent attire, displaying an empty bravado as if he were draped in the most magnificent robe. The weavers, their eyes filled with mischief and delight, feigned adoration for their creation, praising the emperor's grace and elegance. They adjusted the non-existent collar, smoothed the unseen fabric, and marveled at the exquisite hues and patterns that only they could perceive. They described the imaginary garment with intricate detail, weaving a tapestry of falsehoods to captivate the imagination of those present. To further conceal the truth, the chamberlains, loyal to their emperor and unknowing of the deception, played their part. They pretended to carry the train of the invisible suit, their hands holding the air, lifting an illusionary garment that weighed nothing. The onlookers, eager to believe in the magic, whispered their awe and admiration, adding to the chorus of deceit. The grand procession commenced, and Emperor Gustav marched with feigned confidence beneath a magnificent canopy. The illusion was complete. The emperor pretended to feel the weight of the fabric, the splendor of his imagined regalia, while the people marveled at his supposed discernment and the enchanting suit they could not see. As the parade moved through the streets, a hushed murmur swept through the crowd. Laughter and disbelief began to surface as some keen observers saw through the charade. "The emperor has nothing on at all," a child innocently exclaimed, their pure observation breaking the illusion that had ensnared the city. Soon, the whispers of truth grew into a resounding chorus of realization, and laughter echoed through the crowd. The people finally saw through the deception, recognizing the emperor's vulnerability and the weaver's deceit. The grand parade of deception had reached its climax, and the kingdom of Viridia stood on the brink of revelation. The weaver's trickery had been laid bare, and the emperor's vanity exposed for all to witness. The laughter swelled and cascaded through the streets as the procession continued, and the truth became impossible to deny. The emperor, exposed and vulnerable, faced the raucous laughter of his subjects. He grappled with the reality of his nakedness beneath the guise of an enchanted suit that did not exist. Emperor Gustav, initially frozen with embarrassment, found a flicker of resilience within himself. He chose to persist in his march, though each step felt heavier as the mocking laughter echoed around him. He realized, in the midst of the humiliation, that he had been a victim of his own vanity and hubris. The crowd's laughter began to morph into a collective understanding of the deeper lesson at hand. Viridia had witnessed the consequences of blind pride and the perils of seeking validation through superficial means. The people recognized that their emperor had been ensnared by his own desire for distinction and approval, a sobering realization that rippled through the kingdom. Though humiliated and stripped of his illusory grandeur, Emperor Gustav continued to march, for he knew this experience held the potential for growth and transformation. The laughter of his subjects, once a source of derision, now served as a reminder of the importance of humility and empathy. It marked a turning point in his reign. In the aftermath of the Grand Parade, Viridia began to rebuild its sense of unity and purpose. The kingdom came to value substance over appearance, wisdom over superficiality. Emperor Gustav, too, underwent a transformation. He gradually shed his obsession with attire and began to focus on the needs and aspirations of his people. The city that had once been engulfed in the shadow of deception and vanity now emerged into the light of truth and wisdom. The grand parade of deception had become a turning point, a lesson etched into the annals of Viridia's history. The emperor, humbled by the experience, sought to mend his ways and rule with a newfound understanding of his responsibilities. Emperor Gustav embarked on a journey of self-reflection and growth, making amends for the past and earning back the respect of his subjects through meaningful actions and just governance. He redirected the kingdom's resources towards the betterment of the people, building schools, hospitals, and investing in infrastructure to improve their lives. The deceptive weavers were exposed and punished for their cunning scheme, facing the consequences of their actions. Viridia had learned to be wary of illusion and to value truth and integrity above all else. The people, too, began to realize the importance of critical thinking and questioning the status quo, ensuring that they would not be easily misled in the future. The kingdom flourished under Emperor Gustav's newfound wisdom, and his reign became synonymous with growth, progress, and genuine care for his subjects. Viridia evolved into a land where the principles of honesty, empathy, and humility were cherished, leaving behind the shadow of the infamous Grand Parade. In the end, the story of the emperor's vanity and the weaver's deception became a cautionary tale passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that true greatness is not derived from outward appearances or the approval of others, but from the depth of character and the integrity of one's actions. And thus, Viridia embraced a brighter, more genuine future, leaving behind the folly of the past